Today I'm talking about the Recording King RD-328. I've had this video requested a couple times because a lot has changed since 2.5 years ago when I bought this guitar, both with the brand itself and also with pricing and some other factors as well. This video is going to be really useful if you are looking at a guitar in the $1,000 price range, because when I bought it in 2024, it was $800 out the door at Ciderville Music here in the Knoxville area. Now this guitar is $1,000. That's a 25% increase. And so we're going to chat about, is the guitar still worth it? Would I still buy it in 2026? All right, full disclosure, I haven't played this guitar much at all in the past 8 or 9 months. It's been in the closet because I've had other guitars here in the studio that I've enjoyed playing more, quite honestly, higher price guitars. But I pulled it out this morning, restrung it, and so I definitely have a lot of thoughts to share just based off of what I've played here the past couple hours, because it is a different feeling instrument than when I first bought it. But the specs really quick, we've got an Adirondack spruce top and rosewood back and sides. This is an all wood bodied guitar. At the time when I bought it, $800 was definitely a steal in my mind. Very unique about this guitar is the V-shaped neck. A lot of acoustic guitars have a C-shaped neck. It's probably what you're most used to feeling when you pick up an acoustic. This one's got a sharper V shape, and that does kind of present some issues when it comes to putting on a capo. Very nice, classic D28 style guitar, except this one's made by Recording King, not Martin, and at a fraction of the price a D28 will cost you in 2026. Right away, there's immediate value here because this is an all-wood bodied guitar. Let's take, for example, a Martin guitar around the same price range. I have it right here. This is the Billy Strings DX model. Spruce top with HPL back and sides for about the same price. That HPL acronym, understand that. It stands for high pressured laminate, and these Martin guitars that are made of HPL, they're inferior, a lot of folks would say, because they're not all wood. And generally acoustic players are looking for that all wood guitar. Some call it plastic, some call it fake. It is a real material. It does produce a great sound, but at the end of the day, it is not real wood. Important to note, this company almost went out of business, or did go out of business, since the last video that I made. This was a real big stir in the acoustic bluegrass community online. You can go find videos from folks from a couple months back, or rather like a year back, when this was all going down. But after they announced they were going out of business, St. Louis Music, which is the parent company to Alvarez, announced that they were acquiring the brand, thus saving it from going under. And so went out of business, was resurrected. I couldn't find a whole lot of information regarding this new ownership. Let me know down below if you've heard anything differently. But this may or may not have impacted the quality of the instrument. And so I'll get to that in just a second. But what I'm feeling more than anything on this guitar, something that I've not mentioned before, but somebody did ask about this not too long ago, are the frets. And remember, I'm coming off of like a year of playing a Martin and or a Yamaha, and these definitely don't feel as smooth as the frets on those instruments. I did play this heavily for a solid year. It was like my main gigging instrument, actually more like 14 months. And so there is some wear and tear on the frets. I could tell that when I was changing the strings, but the big thing, when I go to make a slide, I think I messed up there at the beginning on a slide here. These frets are just, I don't know, after not playing this and then noodling around for a couple hours, my timing is suffering a bit, and it's just something that I have to get used to. But the frets do feel quite a bit more rough than the other two guitars I've been playing. That's the first observation. The second one is, I didn't hate the neck. I didn't mind playing it, but this V-neck does feel super strange, and it always sort of did. just a little bit alien to me, and not that it impacts your playing. I know that like Gallagher often makes guitars with a shallower V-neck, but this one is really, really pronounced. I don't know how to explain it unless you were just sitting here feeling the neck of the guitar, but it is a solid V. It's like a sharper V, and that's something that will stick out to you immediately if you pick up this guitar. Aesthetically speaking, I really enjoy the way this guitar looks. As I mentioned earlier, it is modeled off of the Martin D-28, so you've got all of those elements baked into the design. Not the biggest fan of the curved headstock. I'm not a big fan of anything but that square headstock that you see on a Martin, and so that's a gripe, but it's not really, it doesn't impact the way the guitar plays, so that's just something to take into consideration. And, the overall feel and build, while it's not that of the Yamaha, that's been in my hands recently, it does feel like a solid guitar. The other guitar that I have in the price range, I don't want to compare that one because it's made of mahogany, which is a completely different sound, is an orange wood. And I will say that both of them don't feel as good in my hands as the Yamaha. And, I'd probably give the Recording King here the slight edge on the orange wood. It just feels a bit more solid. That's all I can say about it. Okay, so in case you're wondering, would I buy this guitar again for $1,000 versus $800 that I paid for it? There's no hardshell case included, I should have added, and there's no pickup system. All right, and this was a hard decision here because I'm sitting here kind of looking at my phone at other stuff in the $1,000 price range. My honest answer, if I'd buy this again, would be no. And that's really hinged on the fact that the company went out of business. It's now acquired by a new one. I don't know the details. We're in a weird time in history as far as, the transportation of materials and how that impacts cost and things like that. And I lean on the mindset that the brand may have had its heyday. Maybe it's going to come back bigger and better than ever. I don't know the details. Again, share with me what I've missed down below. But if there's a new company taking over, even if it's Alvarez, it makes you question, like, what's going to happen with Recording King? I guess in a nutshell, I think that story, which was fresh on my mind because I owned an instrument, was just kind of bad publicity for the brand, right? It kind of makes me lose faith in them if it's going under and then, oh, they're coming back, but, what does that mean? If this guitar was $1,000 and the Recording King story didn't involve bankruptcy, or almost becoming bankrupt rather, whatever happened, I don't know, I would consider it more. It'd probably be a yes, I'm going to be honest. That being said, they're not the only guitar company that's rebranding themselves, leaning more into the traditional style. Breedlove is the brand that comes to mind. They're doing different things. And so, would I buy it again? No. And I have to mention, and none of this is sponsored, but if you're sitting at home and you're like, what should I buy for $1,000 then? I would look into a Yamaha. It's the most recent purchase from me. I'm not going to spotlight that one because there's other videos about the Yamaha, but that guitar has made my life so much easier. Built in Japan. This guitar, I should have mentioned, built in China, sold in the United States under the Recording brand name. And there's a distinction there. And I would love your thoughts on this. Did I make the right call here? Would you buy the guitar for $1,000 knowing what we know about the brand? Anyway, thought I'd pause and make a video about this. If you've been playing guitar for a while, but you still don't have the bluegrass sound yet, check out my beginner-friendly course, Flatpick Foundations, down below. It's made for those folks who get up, get the coffee going, you start looking at guitar videos to learn, and everything just seems unconnected or maybe over your head. A lot of what I see is just too complicated. So that's why I made Flatpick Foundations. It's 115 lessons and it's growing. Takes you step by step through going from GCD chords to learning how to play the bluegrass stuff that I demoed here on this video. And it's helping tons and tons of folks around the world. It's the only reason I can make YouTube videos like this for you. So check it out down below or leave a comment. Let me hear from you. Where are you from? Where are you watching from? That sort of thing. And tell me everything you think about the Recording King RD-328. We'll see you on the next one, folks. Bye-bye.